Okay, so this video is going to be about making decision between multiple things. Okay, and so let's say that let's say that I'll have like three different LEDs I want to flash or something, or let's say that I want to have maybe different sequences that the LEDs flash or something like that. Well, what I have to do is take this input of a button. Let's say maybe I want to like toggle between them, and so every time I press the button it's going to switch to a different one. And so I need a way to keep track of like what button press I'm on and which activity is going on. And so I'm going to track that in a button count. And so we're going to say if the button is pressed, then we're going to add to the button count. And so I've stored the value of 0 under the button count. And then if the button's pressed, we're going to say button count, we'll say plus equals, so we'll add 1 to it. Okay, plus equals 1. So that increases the button count by 1. Okay, and then from there, what we want to do, and there will just be an if statement because in the else case it won't do anything. Right? And then we'll say that, okay, now if button count is the same as, we'll say 0, we'll just say it's the same as 1, we're going to say print 1. Okay, or serial.print, I guess. There we go. Okay, and we'll do it again. Let's say else, and then we'll make it else if. So if button count is equal to 2, okay, then we'll have it do the next thing. Okay, and we can do this as many times as we want for as many things we want to decide between. And so, this will, we can make this go to just 3 situations, like this. Okay, but we can add in an if statement for any other situations we want. Okay, but the problem here is this: after button count gets beyond 3, it's going to keep doing this for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th time it's been pressed. And so it's going to get stuck on this one right here. And if we want it to toggle between the 3, then what would happen is that we would have to set it so that it starts over again. Okay, and so we would need it to keep recycling itself. Okay, and so the way that we can do that is we can say button count % equals 3. Okay, so what this line does keeps button count between 0 and 2. Okay, because whenever it gets to 3, it's going to divide by 3 and get the remainder of 0 and start it over from the beginning. Okay, and so that means button count could be 0, 1, or 2. So we're going to change this right here to reflect that to be a 0. We'll change this to be a 1, and this will happen when it's 2. So first press is there, second press is there, third press is there. Okay. And maybe we'll say, and so this is good, and maybe we don't want to do anything though until the button's been pressed at all. So the way we could change it to reflect that because it's going to do stuff if the button count is 0, 1, or anything else. And so what we can do is we can say, okay, let's make button count start as -1, so it doesn't become 0 until we press the button. And then what the other thing we can do is we can make another if here for when it's equal to 2. Okay. And then not have another else for the other cases. So what will happen is when it's not equal to 0, 1, or 2, then just keep going through the loop and nothing will happen. Okay, so there is a problem with this program, and the problem is that if you just keep holding down the button, eventually it's going to just cycle through them all. It's not going to wait till you let go of the button to count it or anything like that. We could do that. We could say we won't get into that. Maybe we'll look into that in a different video, but this should be enough to get you started on your current activity, because once I've done this, now I can put functions in here, I can put blink sketches in here, I can jump to like the functions I already wrote down here. This is a great way to decide between things. Also, real quick, at this piece of code right here, if the button is pressed, it returns a 1. Okay, and so in an if statement, it's looking for true and false. And 1 can be interpreted as true, and 0 can be interpreted as false. We can also just ask if button is equal to 1. Okay, and then that can be interpreted as true or false. We can ask if button is equal to true. Okay, I think true is, there you go. I can ask like that as well, I believe. Okay, so those are different ways to check to see if the button is pressed. If you wanted to do this when the button wasn't pressed, then you could put 0 here. Okay, but you have a couple different ways to reference that right there. Hopefully this was helpful, and hopefully it made sense. Okay, and hopefully this is what you need to kind of write that next program.